Welcome to the Victory Speaks Inspired Conversation series, where iron sharpens iron. That's you and me sharpening each other. I am your host, Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And I'm on a mission to create inspiring life conversations with everyday experts, unsung heroes, and thought leaders that will empower us to live a victorious lifestyle. As you join me on this journey through these inspired conversations, I hope you will be inspired to have intentional conversations that will lift you up and enhance your life. No matter the type of conversations we have, good, bad, funny, you name it, it can all be inspiring. Tonight, I invite you to get comfy, get a nice drink or a snack, grab a notepad, as you just never know when a wisdom key can be dropped. Please share this with your friends and get ready to engage with us. And welcome to the Victory Speak Show. I am your host, Nicole Waldron, your voice of victory and your mental fitness coach. And I am excited tonight on this, well, in Toronto, one could call it beautiful because spring is in the air. It's a little rainy and a little mucky, but it's okay. It's still International Women's Month. And I have some of the greatest here with me tonight. And you know, there are two themes that are going on. There's an international one, breaking the bias. The Canadian theme I really like. It's women inspiring women. And these women have inspired me for a long time. They probably don't know it. They're probably hearing it for the first time. You never know who's watching you, people. You never know who's watching you. And interestingly enough, this show is airing live on the 23rd of March, 2 days before the International Day of the Remembrance of the Day of Victims of Slavery. And you'll see why it's so interesting as we get into the conversation. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my guest tonight, and then we're going to talk. And listen, get your friends, get a notepad. You never know when the wisdom keys are going to drop. Because my victory guest tonight, one of the things they have recently worked on is the Cooley Heritage Minute, produced in partnership with Historica Canada, the first ever Canadian heritage content depicting and acknowledging slavery in Canada. It tells the story of Cooley, who was owned by Waruman family in former Upper Canada, now southwestern Ontario. Now, these are Black Canadian content creators. My victory guest, Alison Duke, is a Canadian Screen Award-winning filmmaker and the co-founder of OYA Media Group. She is a multifaceted award-winning producer, director, and writer known for creating vibrant stories across various film genres. Also joining the conversation tonight is co-founder of OYA Media Group, Ngardy Conteh George, who is a two-time Canadian Screen Award-winning filmmaker, a Sundance Institute Documentary Film Program Fellow, and grantee. And also joining us is the beautiful Debbie Deer from Debbie Deer Productions. And she's a participant in OBAC inaugural CFC times OBAC Scale Up Immersive program. You're probably wondering, what's all those acronyms? Well, if you want to know, you got to listen to the program. You got to stay tuned. Okay, so while I bring up these amazing individuals, I need you to tell us where you're from. Give them a warm Victory Speaks welcome, because they are coming to the victory stage, and we need you to show them love, 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 love. Love is in the air on the Victory Speaks show. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Love,
Hi.
love.
Big loves, everyone. Big love.
Big love. So how are you guys doing today on this beautiful day in Toronto?
Well, it seems cold outside, but and some weird weather happening. But I'm just, thank you so much, Nicole, for inviting us on your show. It's just a delight. I know you're doing some wonderful things, trying to change conversations and whatnot. So, thank you.
I am so honored. I have to bend my head a little bit because I'm trying not to cry, because I have the great Alison Duke on the show. You have no idea. You have no idea. One of my heroes of all time, just changing the landscape. So I'm gonna this is one of those moments, right? This is one of those moments when you go, one of your icons know that you're here, you're here. So I'm gonna switch it up a bit, because if I was to tell you to tell me who you are, you're gonna downplay yourself. Ngardy, tell me, who is Alison Duke?
Allison is just like you said, she's an icon. Allison is, as I like to say, a badass producer um, in this industry. You know, this male led
Mm,
industry we have here. Alison Duke, you know, making space and not just for herself, but for so many. You know, a filmmaker, a director, a writer, a producer, a community builder. And fortunately for me, my business partner.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, Alison Duke is a filmmaker who's been around, you know, who I knew of but when I was, you know, in film school, and as someone that I, you know, looked up to and wanted to work with, you know, for many years. And you know, most recently, the director of the latest Heritage Minute, the first Black woman to ever direct a Heritage Minute. That is Alison Duke, breaking more ground.
yes, yes, yes. I can't wait for them to see the Heritage Minute. So, Allison, can you tell us a little bit about Gardy?
Well, we call it Gaddy, Gaddy like
Yeah.
Daddy, but Gaddy. And you know, Gaddy is a very creative person and just an amazing spirit. She's very focused. I really enjoy her as a business partner because she has a lot of things. You say that I have a lot of attributes and all that, but she has a lot of things that I don't have, and we complement each other so well. But she's a remarkable talent. She's a mother, and she's a. I just think that she's sort of like a visionary in her own right. She's making space through the Scale Up program, but she's also innovative in her thinking about what kind of content that she's creating, like Mr. Jane and Finch.
Mhm.
That she directed that. We co-wrote and co-produced that, but she directed that film. And it's just a beautiful, documentary. If people haven't seen it, it's on CBC Gems right now, and it won 2 Canadian Screen Awards. And it was just, I was just every time I work with her and she's directing, I just love to see her work and what she comes up with because very, very creative. But also, I think she's got a strong, business acumen. In this industry, it's not just about the creative; it's about the business, and she understands that well. So I like that, and she's fearless. She makes me do things that I don't typically do, and maybe that's why you see a lot more coming from me because I'm kind of like in the background, but she's forced me to do things that she knows I don't like to do, and that's great. And so I admire that courage, and I just want to honor her and to say I do really respect her work and
Aw.
honor her. And it's just a pleasure. These 3 years working together has been such a joy.
See, I love that introduction. Well, I'm going to let you do one more. I'm going to let you do Miss Debbie. Debbie, you think you're going to introduce yourself? No, no, no. We're going to let Allison is like Allison could be the cheerleader for everybody right now because the way she does
Yeah.
an
Right?
introduction is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. You got to introduce Debbie now.
Right?
Oh my gosh. Well,
Right.
I think I'm going to throw that. Can I throw that to Gaddy? I know
Yes.
Debbie for a long time. I know
Yeah.
she's a creative person, and I'm glad to see her participation in the Scale Up program. And it's just wonderful to see her grow. I've seen her in various different disciplines, but I know that Gaddy now is working more closely with her. So I want to throw
Okay.
it to Gaddy.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, Debbie, this is difficult because Debbie wears so many hats,
I do. Yeah.
right? And so I would just say, Debbie Deer, the multi talented Debbie Deer, like, you know, and again, another community builder, you know, a theater, I'm going to say a theater badass. You know, a creator, you know, from marketing to, you know, filmmaking to theater, like in so many multidisciplinary in so many mediums. And most recently, you know, the creator of an amazing experience, Nefertiti, virtual
Mhm.
production, a hybrid theater film, like mishmashing, bringing all the different mediums together to make another incredible experience. And then also Debbie is part of our OBAC, which is OYA Black Arts Coalition, our nonprofit. We have an initiative called the Scale Up Initiative, which is a three part program, and Debbie is an amazing Scale Up Immersive Media Lab, which we've put together with the Canadian Film Centre, and it's funded by FedDev in Southern Ontario. And Debbie's going through our program right now, creating an immersive prototype and kind of, I guess, increasing her knowledge in the immersive media landscape to really, I guess, bring that into the fold of all the other, mediums that Debbie is, mastering and bringing all her amazing creativity to. So I'm sure I've probably missed a lot more, but that's been my entry point into the wonderful world of Debbie Deer.
You know what? And that's okay, because here's what we want people to do. What people need to do is you need to go and make Google your friend tonight and Google these women and learn about what they're doing, because you're just getting a snip. I really mean like a snippet of what they're doing. These women are not just Canadian here based in Toronto, Ontario. No, they're doing work that's national and international. You better go learn who they are. Okay, but you're going to get little snippets tonight. Now, Debbie, why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? I don't think I have a choice. It's kind of like my shirt, where there's just multiple things going on. And I needed to find an outlet that I could basically engage my talents, but also give back with them. My sister is actually listening right now. She just sent a shout out, but she's my older sister. So she would have known the times when I'm at home writing scripts at like 5 and jumping all around the place and going into theater, but also being really into like technology as well, like with gaming. So I think I do it because I see the value in utilizing my talents to share with community. And it's important for me to just give back, not to sound like, a cookie cutter type statement, but there's so many people who gave to me to make sure that they believed in me, to say, well, I feel that you could do this in your life, that the idea of giving that back is key for me to progress. And with Oya, for example, like it's very surreal being here with like, I have to pay for like 2 icons themselves, like hearing them describe me, or even me being a part of the program, like I'm a little bit just blown away by the experience. And so it's actually humbled me to remember what it's like to be mentored myself, and the value of that again as I do my mentorship work with people like Black Future Month for youth and stuff. So,
and I love your answer. And this is why, it wasn't because I didn't want to introduce you. It is important that we champion each other. And it is important that we hear how others see us, because sometimes we're sitting in our silos and we don't realize how much we are impacting others, and you don't even know how much they mean to you. And we love to give people their flowers. And you see your top tonight, I think it's like a whole sermon. Your beauty that you have entered the room with, it's like, it's speaking such love, it's speaking such vibrancy. And sometimes we miss giving people their flowers when they're here with us. And it's important that we give people their flowers in the now. And I know you all three are doing that. Ngardy, why do you do what you do? Because you sit there as this humble, if anybody walked you past you and they should be like, oh yeah, she's just like 16 years old doing her due, not recognizing that you are just blowing things up. Why do you do what you're doing?
I feel like everyone, if you can figure out what you love and figure out what your talent is, and if you can find purpose for it, and I think you kind of like have a match. I mean, for me, I'm originally from Sierra Leone in West Africa, and I always, there's oh God, what was that song? Anyway, there's a song that had a thing where it's like, where you're born doesn't define kind of where you are. And it's like, I could, I didn't control how I got to Canada. I could still be in a village in Matrujan in Sierra Leone right now, but I'm here. So what am I going to do with the resources that have been given to me and the privilege I have living here? And I think from a young age, I always wanted to, I wanted to be a lawyer, and so, but I really had no interest in actually practicing law. So I think it was about the justice of it. So, making documentaries to me is my way of kind of, making a small change, and giving back and helping and giving voice to folks who might otherwise not have voice, or who've been systematically, silenced or ignored. So that's kind of why I do what I do, I guess.
I'm sitting here going, okay, I got a documentary for you. I got a few in my head. We're going to talk after the show. We are going to have a great conversation after the show. What would you say to a little girl in Sierra Leone right now who may have just come here, is in North America, watching the show and wondering what she can become?
Yeah, well, it's just know you can do whatever you set your mind to. Like, I think it's corny, and I think it's been oversaid, but I feel like it's just so simple. And it's kind of like living life fearlessly is, I kind of feel like if more people did that, then they wouldn't listen to that no in their head, or that thing that stops you before you start. And then you never really get a chance to do that thing, like dreams are only dreams because you haven't manifested them, you haven't made them happen yet. So I just feel like, just put fear aside. Like, fear is always going to be there, and you kind of like use fear to fuel you. Like, if you don't feel some kind of energy or that butterfly in your stomach, then you're in a comfort zone. And what's exciting about that?
See, you okay? Are we getting a motivational talk right now? I told you the gems will come. The gems will come because, as you say, sometimes you just take things for granted, but you said some key points right now, and I hope everybody's listening. Share it in the chat. If you like a comment, share it and tweet it out, because we're going to empower individuals tonight. Now, Allison, you are working all over the world, doing all these great things, but you are so grounded, and you keep going and you keep going despite everything that comes against you. Why are you still doing what you do?
Because I'm good at it. No.
Yes. Absolutely.
If you're good at something, why would you stop? Like, not to, I just, this is the first thing that came to my mind.
Facts.
It was, there's a lot of, obstacles that get in your way and barriers in this industry. Some are, due to your race, or, I'm a queer Black woman too. That's another thing. That's another layer. But you have to really, like what Ngardy said, believe in you. At the end of the day, you have to believe in you, and don't let anything stop you from chasing your dreams. And it doesn't matter how old you are when you start. It doesn't matter where you live. You believe in yourself, you invest in yourself. And that's what I've done for my whole career. When I started making films, back in the day, I started in the music videos, but when I started making films, I invested in my own equipment. I invested in my own camera. I had my own editing suite. So I was able to make work all the time. And I kept on investing in myself all along the way. Now, with the business that I have with Ngardy, we have, a lot of equipment. We can do whatever we want. And nothing can really stop us. So if somebody tomorrow said, we're not going to give you any more money or any more grants to make a film, we can still do it. They cannot stop us.
Wow. That right there is a Selah moment. Nothing can stop you. You own your own equipment. This ownership in a whole different level. Yeah. That is a glass ceiling breaker right there. I felt, owning your own equipment, and nothing is going to stop you. And your boldness and your courage, where does that come from? Because, many of us say, I'm going to do my dreams, and I'm going to have my dreams, I'm going to have my goals. But in this business that where you guys in, it's a really cutthroat business. Where's that courage and that boldness? You three, I'm just sitting here going okay, seriously, where's that boldness and courage coming from?
I didn't know if you wanted me to continue, but
that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sit here until somebody answers.
Okay, I'll jump in. I feel like being Jamaican is an automatically bold-faced thing. We're very loud in general, and we're not shy. So that's the culture I grew up around. Like people are winding up and making art and like being very transgressive, right? Like people always said Jamaica is homophobic, and it can be, but at the same time, it's very queer, and it's, you know, like depiction of so many things that it is naturally a transgressive culture. Music, for example, would go against the grain. There's so many things musically that we talk about in politics. And I feel like I was very heavily influenced by that growing up. And me being in the theater in Jamaica, like very young, I knew so many people who went against the grain with everything. So I was always around it. And part of my boldness comes from partially what Alison said, where like, you know, you're good at something, you know, you're destined to like make art in a certain kind of way, and you're aware of the obstacles. I think being melanated people, we're born knowing that we're born into oppression in a certain
Yes.
kind of way. But being influenced by people who go past that because they look at the humanity of the thing, they look at their worth, and they just don't take no for an answer, is kind of what inspires me. And yeah, I would say that that is kind of where that boldness comes from. So it comes from cultural influences, and it comes from being supported by people who say, you know what, like even when it gets hard, like Ngardy is obviously that person for Alison, like push yourself more because you have more to give. There are more people that are gonna care about what you have to do, and that's why you do it.
And you know, it's an interesting thing that we do, especially as Black people. We, you know, when we were basically telling our children, you know, you're doing well, or we stand in the truth of who we are in a confidence, we were told that we were boasting or we were too full of ourselves, and so we shrink back. And so it's really nice to hear, no, don't shrink back, step into who you are. And I think the three of you are really sending that message. It's not about boasting, it's about knowing who you are and coming into the fullness of it and walking in it. Like, Ngardy, what gives you that? Because you're like, Alison is saying that you're making her do some things that she would not normally do. You would think,
does.
right?
I like how it's shaking my
I
head.
think it's a two-way street, and I feel like maybe that's one of like the benefits of our partnership. I feel like Alison pushes me, and maybe we just you know, we empower each other, and I think we lift up each other. I think I'm probably one of Alison's biggest fans, and I think she's one of my biggest fans. And I think we have such a respect for each other, and we see I think the talent in each other, you know. And I think, you know, artists, like the artist side of us, you know, because we're both creatives, there's a part in every artist of that, like that insecurity, or you read something and you're like, oh, that's horrible, or you create something beautiful and you're like, ah, that's not that great, right? And so there's always that, I think that part in you. But when you have someone every day you can talk to who's like, you know, believes in you and sees you and sees all of you and knows your potential, you have nothing left but to rise to that and to want to rise to that. And also, like, I want to like work as hard as Alison works. You know, I want to make sure my quality of work is as good as Alison, because I mean, when we're collaborating together, it's like I can't come with a weak idea.
Come on.
Like I can't come with weakness. When like just for like an example, like when we're working on Mr. Jane and Finch, and it's like, if I come with an idea, it's like, well, how does that move the story forward? Was Alison used to say to me, and it's like, I can't come with something weak because I have to justify it. And in justifying it, it makes it strong, and then it pushes, and it does make the story stronger and pushes the story strong. So you can't come with mediocrity. You can't come with anything less. So we're, and I think that's what puts the work we do at OYA and the work we do at OBAC to like next level, because we are constantly wanting to bring the best, because that's what we're used to doing.
You speak to something that I call very in the Victory. So people look at Victory Speaks and they say, oh, it's just this little thing, Victory Speaks, but it's actual sentence, Victory Speaks. And for me, part of that is having an iron sharpener. And, iron sharpens iron, because without, wood can sharpen wood. Iron can be sharpened by wood, but it cuts it. But it needs to go back to iron to be sharpened. And that's what I hear, that sharpening of each other that you two do. Allison, before because we're moving into this space of, when I think of Chloe Cooley, like, what gives you that boldness and that courage? Because you're swimming in some waters with some big fish, and some of them could be sharks.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to add, to what everybody was saying before. In this business, like you said, it's very cutthroat and whatnot, and it's very subjective. What is art? What is good? What is bad? Like, it's very subjective. And a lot of times when we're making work, if it's not up to snuff, you go to the back of the line and you have to wait for another years before you have another opportunity. But there's a little bit of I feel that creatives get minimized. People get minimized in our community. Their work is always minimized, and we recognize that, and we say we're not having it. We're not having it, because in order for our community to move ahead as creatives and be internationally renowned, we have to hold each other up. We have to lift each other up. We have to be each other's irons so we can sharpen things, so it gets to the quality it needs to be. And we have to be open to collaboration and know that feedback is not necessarily criticism. Yes. Feedback is to support. You have to. So these are things that we kind of work on at OYA. But the boldness for Chloe Cooley, and you said stepping in really, certain shoes. I don't know. I didn't quite understand the question. What did you mean by that?
Was that me or?
Yeah, you said something about Chloe and the boldness.
The boldness that she moved with. Because when I watched the clip, she moved with such a boldness, and I'm gonna try and show the clip in a bit, that defied the odds, risking her life. And just in that clip, you saw her just defying the odds no matter what. And you knew she was, I wish I knew her full story of how everything ended up. But when I looked at the clip, I said, this is a woman of such courage and such boldness that it struck me. And I look at you and I listen to the three of you, and you are very bold and courageous in a time that's different, but yet has certain things that are the same. Yeah,
Chloe, she's us. She, to me, epitomizes the Black woman on this land. And I think she was there when we were telling the story. Just there, her presence. I feel like her presence, her history, her spirit was there with us. I feel, because our actress, our amazing Olivia Barrett, who played Chloe, she embodied exactly that courageous woman who was going to resist no matter the situation. And I feel that Chloe is in all of us, right?
Yes.
And that's why I think people need to see it, because it's a sad story, but it's an inspirational story because she's so defiant.
Yes. So you know what? Let's show a little bit of the clip, and then we're going to go to some comments, and then we're going to go to the collaborations and all this other work that you're doing. Let's hope that this works, people. Let's go here. And give me a millisecond, and we're going to get this to work.
I don't care what the law is. I will never be a slave. That word, I hate it. It rests on my tongue like a rot. Peter, how does it feel to get paid for your work?
There, room is freedom come for us all.
Freedom, that's all I want.
Chloe, careful. Women would rather say you cross the river to America than let you go free.
Then I'll run. I've run before. Maybe this time for good.
No! Just get her into a boat! No! Chloe! Chloe, no! Chloe!
Word of Chloe Cooley's resistance led to Canada's first legislation limiting slavery. After 200 years, slavery was abolished in Canada in 1834. Wow, every time I watch it, I've watched it so many times. Hold on. There we go. We're back. So how did you get to do this project, Alison?
What I remember is, Ngardy could probably jump in on this as well. We were approached about doing another project for Historica Canada to bid our pitch on another project. And I think we were shortlisted, and we didn't get the job. We appreciated who got the job, but it was for something that was not a film. It was another medium. It was sort of like a podcast or something that they were doing, a series. And we didn't get it, and we thought we could produce it, but we didn't get it. But then they called us back when this story came up, and then they wanted to do this story, and they asked us to pitch again, and we got it. We did our pitch, and we got it. And Ngardy was just really adamant on me just going for it. And I don't know, what was that like, Ngardy? Like, just realizing that we're going to do this and then doing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. So when we put the pitch in for it, and immediately I said, well, Alison, you're directing this, because I mean, we both come from a documentary background, but one of the directions we want OYA Media Group to go into is into more scripted fictional work. And Alison had done Promise Me, her short film that won like tons of awards at festivals around the world. And so like, it only makes sense for, Alison to direct this, since this again was another dramatic piece. And I really wanted this to focus on the directing, to give her the space to, on the producing, to give Alison the space to focus on directing. And so it was exciting, because this is also the first Heritage Minute to actually acknowledge slavery's existence in Canada. So we knew that this was, completely, on brand. We love history, we love archive. So to be able to do a historical piece in a dramatic space, I think was just such an incredible opportunity.
This piece here is just, it came out at such the right time. And then even that's when I thought of even doing this show, it's funny that when I first saw it, I was like, I need to call Alison. I need to get her on the show. And then Wendy called me and said, I was like, yes, this is perfect timing. And the week worked out right because of what we are acknowledging this week. And it is so important. What would be, a message that you would give to Canadians or anybody watching around the world when we look at the remembrance of the day of slavery?
I think it's undeniable. I think for many years we've been talking about this. Our community has been talking about slavery existed in Canada, with a lot of pushback,
Yes.
to speak quite frankly. And now with this story, Chloe Cooley and her resistance and her bravery, we can see that not only that this happened, but the legacy of slavery actually lasted 40 years after. This just went into the books and helped stop a legislation to for people to not be so violent with their slaves and not send them back to America, because that's what happened when she was going across in that boat. She was being sold back to America because Adam Vrooman, the man who enslaved her, didn't want to lose any money because he heard that slavery was going to be abolished. Well, it took 40 years after that, so it really speaks to the type of, slavery in Canada, but the type of racism that exists in Canada. The kind of quiet, nobody talks about it. It takes 40 years to actually abolish it, the sneakiness around it.
Yes.
it really speaks to, you know, those things in Canada in terms of slavery and racism. So it's interesting for me on so many levels, because just for us to acknowledge that slavery existed through Chloe is one thing, but to see how Canada works, that is another thing.
I think we just need to do we're going to come back and do a whole hour just on this, because I think when you really get into it, there's so many nuances that we really could speak on. And it's, you know, so many people need to know the information. And I just want to share with you here, you know, you have people who are watching and listening and are appreciating what you are saying. And Kathy Grant is watching from the train. She says, like, I'm on my way back on a train back from Montreal, and I'm watching on the train. Serena is in Washington, and she says, thank you for doing this process. Serena, you just got to go onto YouTube and click, and you will find it. Sarah, it is, you know, it's quiet, it's sneaky, but yes, but violent racism. And it's a conversation we need to have for ourselves. It's a conversation as a people. It's a conversation we need to have, you know, as a nation, for the healing. Because, you know, we're leading while we're bleeding, and we're not always healing, and we continue to do it. I'm going to give you some encouragement before we go into the next part of the conversation. I love how you are so encouraging and supportive of each other. That's really fantastic. And that there is the key thing. Okay, Sarah Oyango just brought it on. I gotta say this one. The next level, Black brilliance. Yes, this is what we're watching here. Black brilliance.
Yes.
Black brilliance. And so you listen, I'm going to tell people live and on the replay, go watch the Heritage Minute. And so you, Alison and Ngardy, you have the Oya Media Group, and your partners, and you're also doing a collaboration with Debbie. So if we could first get into, if people, you know, some people have no clue what Oya Media Group is and what this collaboration is and stuff that you're doing. So maybe, you know, we can start with you, Alison, telling us about the media group, and then we can go into the coalition, and then how Debbie comes into this whole piece together, working together. Let's tell the story. I'm going to let the storytellers tell the story, and I'm just going to sit back and learn.
Well, you know, Oya Media Group is a Black woman-led production company, and Oya is actually African goddess, and she is, she's like a deity, and out of West Africa, and she's the one who brings about great change through using the elements like thunder and lightning, and through thunder and lightning and rains, you know, there's changes in the world. I don't know if you can still hear me because the.
Oh no, you're still there. Just put you on solo.
Okay.
You just went on a solo layout there.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, something happened there. Some elements happened there and just changed it all up on me. But you know, we're a production company.
My own TV studio, Alison. My own TV studio here.
Oh, I see. It's like, oh, that kind of like, ooh, what's going on? A special feature for while I'm talking? Wow. Really amazing. So we're a production company, and we make documentaries, we make digital web series, we make we're making dramatic work, and we also make virtual reality content, which is part of the Immersive Scale Up program that we're doing, and other work that Gaddy's doing, very important work that she's doing in that area, and other people like Nadine Velsin, who's an artist. We're working with her as well. But our goal is to just really be a force of really great content that, you know, like the Cooley, you know, Chloe Cooley piece, really good content that speaks to our experiences and showcases us from a place of strength, right? Because sometimes we see images and it's sort of like, okay, where are we going with this, right? From a place of strength, but also show diversity within the Black community. We're talking about Black Canadian stories, African stories, people from the Caribbean stories. We really want to do it all. And so that's what we're about. And I know Gaddy probably has a lot to add.
Because because you have this new baby, the coalition that you birthed in the last year, and I love that you're gonna just take on the whole world. I'm applying for a job. I'm applying right now. I'm ready. Right. Tell us more about this new baby.
Yeah,
The
so
coalition.
OYA Black Arts Coalition. So we publicly launched our nonprofit or not-for-profit last fall, but we actually created it a year before, and the work was really started 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, Allison had this, this amazing, very, forward-thinking idea to create our OYA Emerging Filmmakers program, which is a program that we take, on average 20 postgraduate Black youth. So they finished college, university, in a digital media or film video production program. And they're kind of ready to kind of make their way into the industry. And so our program is kind of like a bridging program. And then we also do take participants who might not have taken the university or college route, but who have a commitment to be in this industry. So maybe they, release projects on their own, or they're a YouTuber, or what have you. But so we take those young emerging filmmakers through this program where they get to have networking opportunities, skills building and training, and also portfolio development and project creation. And so we did that program, and it's funded by the provincial government. And we did that program for 3 years. It was a 3-year program, and the provincial government extended the funding for it for an additional 2 years. So we're just getting ready to finish our 4th year now of the program. And through that program, each year the participants, create projects. And in our 2nd year, our participants, we partnered with the Fabienne Colas Foundation out of Quebec to produce 6 short documentaries that were called Being Black in Toronto. And those 6 directors ended up winning a Canadian Screen Award for Best Direction for a Documentary Series. And so that was a great highlight in working with them to create those projects, and to see them, get the recognition from the industry was amazing, and such a huge launch for their careers. And so after 3 years now, we have 60 alumni. We're about to make that 77 alumni. And, and
Shut
these
the front door. Come on now.
right. And they're just doing incredible things. They've moved on to like work with each other to go on and create their own, shorts that have been screened at festivals, and just to do great things, to get lots of them are just working in the industry. They've joined unions, it's just it's been so heartwarming just to see their progression, because now some of them are like 3 years in and are, are like Fona Sadu. She's like a powerhouse producer who I would say is almost mid-career at this point, the amount of work she's done over the past 3 years. Or, Adrian Wallace, I think he's like directing, unscripted series. And, Akash Jones, he's a stop motion animator. He's just doing a short with Regent Park Film Festival now about his father and growing up in Regent Park. And so there's just incredible. And I know one participant, we just got an email this week, they got into the Hot Docs Accelerator program. So we're just seeing this amazing results and great progression. And so after doing that program, we realized, okay, maybe we should formalize this. And so that's why we created OYA Black Arts Coalition. So we have a not-for-profit that can continue doing this work, but also expand the work to not just emerging filmmakers and emerging artists, but for artists of all ages and in all stages. Because especially for our industry, a lot of people, because of the barriers that exist, might take 10, 15 years to really get their foot in the door, whereas it could have taken much less without those barriers. Or they might have, moved on to other careers and want to come back into this. Or maybe for, cultural reasons, never went into the arts, to get that lawyer, doctor, engineer career that their parents might have wanted for them, and when they're established now, they want to come into this industry. So we want to really be able to address all those different kind of folks and give support to really build an ecosystem for our industry, because it's much needed, and I think there's something strong there when it comes from our own community, because we can definitely create those safe spaces that is much needed in this industry. And so our latest program is the Oya Scale Up Initiative. And so there's 3 prongs to it. There's Oya, the Scale Up Masterclass, which is a series of masterclasses, which are just great, talking about different aspects of kind of more of the entrepreneurial side, the business side. Like we just had one last night that was all about vendors. And so those are like service companies that serve the film industry. So we had Jennifer Irons from the Meta Talent Agency. She's an agent. We had Sherman Del Sol, who has Del Tech, who provides like post-production and technical IT support to the industry. He built out Disney's remote editing system here in Toronto, and and he was the first. He was the first company in North America to create a digital non-linear editing system.
What?
Yeah, I was listening on. He's been in the industry for 30 years, and these are all Black-owned companies.
This is like, I'm listening to you and I'm so blown away. Can we start a podcast, 77 series?
Come on and do it for us.
Listen, I'm there. I am there, Alice. I'm listening to this.
Yeah.
This is blowing my mind. Sorry to cut you, Ngardy, and I'm going to bring you back. This is blowing. I'm sitting here listening like, this is like a hidden gem. And I know for certain people probably in the industry, they may know about you and, find you, but I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm like, how do I not know about all of this? And if I don't know, and I know a lot of things, but this is blowing my mind. Okay, so go on. So last night I wish I was there because
it was amazing. And then we had Mark Allen, who has he works in the film industry on like big sets, and so he saw gaps in the set, and so he has 2 companies, one that supplies the industry with location services like tables, chairs, tents, umbrellas, these are things that you need on productions, on set. Toilets, porta potties, right? All of those kinds of things. And it's like lucrative. Imagine, you're building a film set in the middle of nowhere. You need porta potties for those 60 shoot days. And, so it's just a great way for people to think about being in this industry, but it doesn't always have to be a producer or a production company. Exactly. Right? There's other ways to get in and to make good money in this industry. So that was one, and we had 6 masterclasses in that series, from how to incorporate business 101. We have the next one coming up, which people can register for, is all about pitching. And so to join the masterclasses, you just need to be Black identified, and living in Southern Ontario, because that's the catchment area for our funding. And then the second part of the Scale Up Initiative is our Business Affairs Boot Camp, which is a 3-month-long boot camp. We've partnered with WIFT, Women in Film and Television Toronto, as well as Visible Media, which is an amazing organization that serves the industry with business affairs support. And so this program takes 12 participants through this boot camp to learn everything about our funding system, to how to get funded with the Canadian funding model for film and television, tax credits and how to take advantage of them, how to structure your business properly to be set up to do those things. It takes you through, how to deal with networks and broadcast executives, just all the nitty gritty things that many people might find boring, but if you do those business stuff, you're super excited. And these are things in order, because pretty much there's a thing that happens where if you're a production company, you can apply for Art Council funding and you can apply for, grants here, and you can do smaller productions. But once you start going over that $400,000, $500,000 threshold, you wanted to, do a series for a broadcaster, and you're looking at, $1 million budgets, you have to have a certain amount of business acumen and capacity in order to handle that budget, and also for a broadcaster to trust you with that budget and to be able to
that.
deliver that. And so what happens is a lot of times Black-owned production companies, you have the idea, but you don't have that infrastructure. And so then you have to partner with a larger production company that does. And most of the time, that's going to be a white-owned production company. And you have to, a lot of the times, hand over your ownership because whoever manages the money takes on the risk.
Yes.
And so it's hard for a company not to take that ownership and have the risk. So a lot of Black-owned companies, you lose that. And then once you hand that over, you're also losing out on your corporate overhead and some of the profits. And that is what companies use to grow. So you take that corporate overhead, you invest it back into your company, and the next project you do, you can have more staff, you can pay rent, you can do all these things. So it gets into the cycle of not being able to get that money, or if you do, you hand over it to another production company, and then where's the growth, where's the progression?
Listen,
and so we want to disrupt that and
we need a conference. We need a conference.
And now we need a conference.
Podcast conference. We're gonna have all kinds of things by the
end.
Sure,
just come and talk to us.
These conversations. It can't be an inspired conversations if we don't inspire an action. And as I'm listening, Ngardy, Allison, I can see Allison and Debbie shaking their heads. Yes, yes, yes. Ngardy, you are so passionate about this. Like when you start talking, I think if you are like totally exhausted, you will find the energy because you just came alive in a whole nother dimension.
Really true.
It's my baby.
You're down with me on this stuff, and like not just saying it, but like, oh, I'm gonna do it, and this is how we're gonna do it, and
listen. Okay, hold on. I gotta put up this comment here. It's from D. Chansonberry. Chanson is on the line. Dark Girls too. Dark Girls. If you guys haven't seen Dark Girls, a documentary, this is the man. This is the man.
Wow, okay.
Chan is on the line. Chan, these are the women I've been telling you about. We're gonna set up a meeting. We're setting up a meeting. They have their own production house, Chan. They got all the cameras that you need. Come to Toronto.
Come to Toronto to film. Get that production service tax credit, and we'll take care of you up here.
Yeah, exactly.
You heard it straight from them.
The machine.
I want to know how Debbie, because with the boot camp, the coalition, you got the master classes and all this kind of stuff. And then, by the way, the picture, I don't know who designed the graphic of Debbie and Allison, like the side by side on the website. Is it Debbie? Is that your website? That the side by side graphic with the two of you?
That's myself and Allison.
That's yourself and Allison.
Yeah, that's
I thought it was Debbie. Holy Moses.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
it looks. Listen, I was blown away by that graphic. But Debbie, how does Debbie's now collaboration come into being with what you're doing? Debbie, go for the gold.
Well, I mean, I'm part of Oya Scale Up Immersive right now. So being essentially menteed by these incredibly talented Black people, and like we've all established, this is like a white male dominated industry, right? So even when I did Nefertiti, the person who built the engine, to be transparent, he's a white male. And I feel that he's one of those people that has worked with, in the industry for 20 years and has really developed a career over the past 10 years and has so much access. And if it really wasn't for us working together in other capacities and me having the foresight, I may not have had the opportunity just by virtue of my demographic. So, and then when I meet other peers, I'm like, nobody else is doing this kind of work, particularly in the VR space, as things kind of evolve from film and we're now going into more immersive spaces. We just don't exist, there's a film called Coded Bias where it shows how literally the technology we're using now favors people who are not from the African diaspora. And that is something that is systemic on a deeper level. Like we're going AI systemic racism right now. So when I heard about the program, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to meet with other folks who are doing the same thing that I want to do and be inspired and empowered and make emerging artists thrive. and I can't really say, I know I've said it in so many times, but like Scale Up has given me the opportunity to connect, but also like grow even more, because now I'm seeing myself reflected in work that people are doing. And it's not just pian pian, as we say in Jamaica. Pian pian means drop in the pan. Like, it's like just average productions. These are like Alton Glass, doing the march. This is like people who they've connected with all over the world who are into NFTs, some of the biggest names in these industries. And that's something that I will say in our community, because we don't have a lot of access. Sometimes it's a little bit substandard, to be fair, and it's not for lack of wanting to do better. It's just that it's what we have access to. And I can absolutely say that Scale Up is a true inspiration in terms of excellence, because everyone involved is excellent in their own capacity. And for me, it's only made me want to transfer that. Um, and like even yesterday, we were featured in Tips Deep Focus, and some of the ways that I was inspired through Oya, I was like, finding myself reflecting that in the TIFF programming, just by telling people, hey, there are resources available to you. There are other Black people making films, and you're not the only one, and that, there's power in community, but we just have to know where to look, kind of deal. So, yeah, I could really go on, but like that is part of the collaboration that is going on. And we are now in the stage where we're prototyping. So me and my group have we're going to make an immersive experience, inspired by Anansi. Hopefully
Ooh,
everybody
the
here
Anansi
knows
story.
who
Come on
Anansi
now.
is. Sorry?
I said the Anansi story, from the Anansi story.
Yeah, from Anansi. So Anansi, Anansi is all over the world. Anansi is from Africa, but like everywhere that's the diaspora knows of an Anansi type. So we thought in the storytelling process and the immersive process, we want to share our stories and bring it to this new platform. So why not use Anansi? And so Dark Slope is helping us develop, mocap technology. So that's like when someone can put on a suit and become an avatar in real time.
Wow.
Super cool. And then yeah, we're planning to put some other saucy things in there, like Unreal Engine and some other assets. And I also have to say, because obviously again I can go on forever, but like the allyship in the program, because I have to be real, like sometimes we are blackity black, and it's great. But there are a lot of allies that I'm seeing in Scale Up, and that's something I advocate for, which is when there are people who want to help us and they have the intelligentsia and the resources, we should be open to that.
That's a good word. That's a really good word. It's a true word, and I'd love to see because this is a collaboration, and I'm trying to be. There's so much I want to get into here, but I'm going to be mindful of time. Debbie, what is the legacy that you want to leave in your work, in your body of work, 25 years from now, 30 years from now, and you're looking back and you go, oh, what is that legacy?
Oh, okay. So I would want to leave a legacy of pride in coming from the African diaspora studies. Like when I say studies, I call it a study because being Caribbean to me and studying how I am in this environment and studying how we are with people, it's an ongoing learning process. So I would want people to look back and say, wow, like I challenged myself, I shared with my community, and I was meaningful in the sense that I made it live through the work with pride, because
good pride, yes, like good trouble, good pride, good trouble. I love it.
Yeah, because even with what Alison said, when you're sharing stories, it's just like you don't want to come from a downtrodden place. Yes, we are from that in this culture, but there's so much more to us and what we have to offer, and the excellence that I feel is intrinsic on a DNA level within all of us from the diaspora. And I think that's a very spiritual part in what keeps driving us forward for that excellence.
I love that answer. Cody, what's the legacy for you?
Oh,
That's the legacy piece that you want to leave.
what legacy do I
25,
want
30
to?
years from now, you're
25.
looking back. What's that legacy? What's that legacy?
That legacy is just a beautiful body of work that
says what?
That just says we are here. We because I feel like there's a running theme in the films I've made so far, which is we can do it for ourselves. We can fix ourselves. We only know how to fix us. We can fix ourselves. When we have the answers within ourselves and within our community, if we are just not given the resources, but just give us our space.
I'm looking forward to reading your book. I'm really looking forward to reading that book. I'm getting myself geared up.
You hear that, Gabby?
I'm looking forward.
Well, Allison knows how much I love writing.
Oh my God, I'm looking forward to it. So, Allison, what's that legacy piece that you want to definitely say? Okay, I look back over the years and this.
Yeah, I think it's the body of work, but I also think that I would like people to say that, she wasn't afraid to work with me. She wasn't afraid to work with me. And hopefully by the time I'm done, maybe I've inspired some people or I've supported them getting in this industry. That was not my experience getting in. I had to fight for a long time. And, my goal is to, make great work, but also, share what I know with others. So if I can do that, I think I'll be happy. I'm
loving it. So I'm going to leave you some comments and I'm going to ask you my last question. Natasha is awesome. Allison, thank you for bringing the light to the dark issue of Chloe Cooley there. And I'm already getting the heads up. Please bring these ladies back for part 2. I'm just saying. And Chan is like, beautiful. Yes, they are, aren't they, Chan? Aren't they? Yeah, we're going to be talking after this one. And so you cannot be on the Victory Speak show without this last question here. Get ready, people. They don't even know what's coming. What does victory look like to you? A lot of people say success. I use victory. I know. It's such
I have one already.
Okay, Allison, go.
Yeah. Victory is, getting up in the morning and being able to look at yourself in the mirror and just sit with what you see.
That? Yeah. Okay, people. Somebody write that down. Victory. Because you know how hard that is for people to do? That was so simply said, but it's one of the most powerful answers I've heard. Okay, I'm done. Lodi?
For me, victory, it's and I would say it's in the same vein. It's going. If I can go to sleep at night and my heart is smiling, I'm happy. Like that's like, yeah. It's like when my heart smiles, I'm victorious.
When my heart smiles, I'm victorious. What makes your heart smile?
Just doing what I'm doing, and the little things. It's the little things. Like it's the little victories, the little, whether it's just like we finished a grant application today. I'm happy. So I can go to, I finished something that I that's been on my mind and that took me a while to get done. I am happy. Right? It's just the little things. If we don't celebrate these little things and we only celebrate every time something big happens, then where's the happiness?
Mm-hmm. I think you've been tuning into my podcast secretly. You must have been tuning into my podcast. I should have my victory box here on the thing tonight because literally I say to people, at least once a week, if you can't do it every day, just get like a little piece of paper and write down a victory of the day. Because we so, sometimes we think about the gratitude journal and we get, it's so much for us. But if you write on a little piece of paper, this was a victory today, and you drop it in a box or a jar, wherever you want to drop it. And those days when you just don't feel it, you just pull out something and just get a reminder. Oh, I did that. And you're here and you conquered one thing. It's the little things. Things. I always say love is in the details. Yeah. Debbie dearest. I know people probably tell you that all the time. Debbie dearest. And they do. But you know what? But there's power in the name. There is power in the name.
There
And
is.
and I don't say that with fun, because you have such this sweet heart that has come
Wow.
through. I can see why, you know, you're flourishing in the space that you are.
Thank you.
What does victory mean to you, beloved?
Well, my darling, victory means abundance
Mm,
through the path of truth, happiness, and integrity.
mm,
That is victory. And I go backwards because to thrive in life, you need to be abundant. But to get to abundance, you have to have integrity, because people have to know that you mean what you say and do what you say and do it. And then you have to be happy to be integral, because if you're unhappy, you're going to make everybody else unhappy. And at the top of happiness is truth, because you have to be truthful to yourself and then truthful to everyone else.
Listen, I could not end on a better note tonight. You guys are supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and
Work.
it's, you know, I only use that terminology when I'm so excited. The comments are coming in, and I am truly honored that you've been here with me tonight. I hope I can have you back one day soon. Anytime you want to share something, you just send me a note, and we're coming on and we're sharing, because the whole world needs to know about you. We have to do the podcast. We have to do the conference. There's so much information, and I don't say it in jest. However it gets done, the world needs to know. Canadians need to know. Torontonians need to know that this is happening. And we have so many, especially young people, who want to get into this, but they're told that the arts, you know, it's kind of like a flippant thing, that it's just the arts. And I think when you grew up in the Caribbean and in the diaspora, we downplayed the importance of the art and what it means, and also what it means for mental health and wellness. So it's so significant. So I am honored that you have joined me here tonight on the Victory Speak Show. Listen, remember to follow them on their social media, and go check out what they're doing. Check out Chloe and the Heritage Moments. You can find it on YouTube, and learn more about them. Remember, folks, when you get, give. And when you learn, teach, as Maya Angelou says. And as I say to you, love is in the details. I remind you, as I remind myself every day, to seek to have an inspired conversation along the way with someone you love, someone you just met today, or you've met along the way. Your conversations can be inspired by your truth, your love, your story. Make sure they are meaningful, and it could even start with a smile. And may you see the victory moments in your week. And look at it. That came out tonight. The little victories, when you add them up the way, you become victorious. Have a vision. Oya Media Group, they had a vision. They have been intentional. They've cultivated it. Now they're transforming lives. We are giving them ovation tonight. And as they restore and replenish and rejuvenate the world by what they're doing, they can only do it as if they yield to the process. I hope you know that spells victory. And so may you find the words and the acronyms and the sentences that speak victory to you. Be sure to follow the Victory Speak Show on YouTube, Victory Speak 7. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, Victory Speak 7. And be sure to let your victory speak. And we say good night to you. We thank you for taking the time to tune in, to listen, and let your victory speak.
It was an honor.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you, Nicole.
Alison, Ngardy, Nicole. Amazing.
Don't go anywhere. We are taking care.
Where are we going? We're staying or we're leaving? What's happening?
Stay right
I'm taking
here.
a frame grab.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.